Okay, so now we're going to begin by looking at combining numbers. Um, just like looking at the original binary set that we were talking about earlier, whenever you combine, you add the one into the ones place. If there's a zero there, you're okay. But if there's a one, we have to roll over. And so we're going to see how this works. So if we start out with 0 plus 0, 0 plus 0 are together, added together, is just going to be a 0. However, if we have a 0 plus a 1, when you add them together, you're going to end up with a 1. Same thing is also true when you have it the opposite direction. A 1 plus a 0, started to write a fraction there. 1 plus a 0 is still going to only give you a 1. However, when we have a 1 plus a 1, this is where people get confused. So again, 1 plus 1 cannot go in any specific spot. So the way we have to treat it, since it's not going to go in the ones because it's too big, it has to roll over, and we're going to put a 0 in the one spot and a 1 in the twos because that equals 2. And we need a 1 in the twos and a 0 in the ones. And we've already seen that binary 2 is 1, 0. Now, we are going to take this same idea and we are going to do this with adding other numbers. So let's start out with 1, 1 over plus 1. 1, 1 is going to be 1 in the twos, 1 in the ones. So this would be in decimal 3. This would be just a 1 in decimal. So you could say, oh, it's 4. Well, however, if you want to take this to decimal and go from decimal, be my guest. That's just fine. You can do that. However, to do this using binary, we would take 1 plus 1, and 1 plus 1 is going to give us a 0 because it has to roll over. So we roll the 1 over. Well, now we have a problem again. We have 1 and 1. So that's going to be another 0, and it's going to roll over into this spot. So remember, the first place is a ones place, second place is a twos, third place is a fours. And we said that this equaled 4, so 1, 0, 0 is the same thing as saying decimal 4. So 1, 1, which is 3, plus 1 is going to give us 1, 0, 0, which comes out as 4. Okay, so let's try this with a more difficult number. Let's go ahead and go to the bigger number so we can go to the actual question. So we have 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1. And then on the bottom, we have 1, 0, 1. I want to make sure I don't mess this up. 0, 1. Okay. So again, 1 plus 1 is, when they combine, it's going to equal 0 because you have to roll over. Well, 1 plus 0 is just 1. You're fine. No rolling over. You're great. 1 plus 1, again, 0. You're going to have to roll over. Bring the 1 all the way through. Now this one's going to have a 1 here, and this one's going to have a 1 here because there's nothing not a number 1 to add to that. So we end up with 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0. Okay, the reason we're looking at this is because sometimes question number 1 can be a sum question. Now, I've chosen this one because the answer choices are all in binary. After we have a chance to look at octal and hexadecimal, you'll see that sometimes they put those as possible answers as well. So you're not only adding, but you're also having to convert. For right now, though, our focus is going to be just the binary side. So we're going to start out with their first number here, which is 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1. 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1. Okay. And the next one says 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1. 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1. Okay. So we start out with this side. We say 1 plus 1. It's going to give us a 0. Roll over 1. Well, normally this would have just been 1 because the 1 plus 0, but we have a 1 up here now. So 1 plus 1 is again going to give us 0. We're going to roll over. This one's going to come down because it's 2 zeros, no big deal. Now 1 plus 1 gives us a 0, roll over. This one has 2 zeros, so we're okay. 1 plus 1 is going to give us a 0. We're going to roll over. 1 plus 1 is going to give us a 0. We're going to roll over, and then that one just comes straight down. So the final answer, just like they have here, is 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0. And you'll notice that they tell us in decimal form that's 148. And do you see how next to the number they have the little 10? Just like next to these, they have the little 2. They also do that with octal and hexadecimal. Okay, so now let's look at this in the problem with product. Product is a little bit more difficult because you've got to think about the fact that these numbers are not in decimal form, but you've got to think of them as a decimal number. So if you look, again, 1 times 1, 1 times 1 is still going to be 1. 0 times 1 is still going to be 0. 1 times 0 is still going to be 0. Because in this case, you have 1 0. Well, 1 0 is 1. In this case, you have 0 1s. So 0 1s is 0. Where the problem comes in is when we get to these that have more than one digit. So in this case, we have 1 1 times 1 0. Similar to how you would do multiple digit multiplication in regular decimal form, we're going to say 0 times 1, which is going to give us a 0, because 0 1s is 0. 0 times 1, again, 0 1s is 0. Now, we're going to multiply the 1 just like we did. The problem is there needs to be our little 1 placeholder, or our 0 placeholder here, just like you would in regular multiplication. So 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. Now, 0 plus 0 is still going to be 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. And 1 plus 1, 1 plus itself, because there's not another number there. So together, 1 1 times 1 0 is going to give us 1 1 0. Well, for most people, that doesn't seem so hard, because if you think about it, it's very similar. You just put the 0 from the 1 0 at the end of the 1 1, and it gives you the 1 1 0. Same thing if we were doing 100 or 1 0 0 times 1 1, you would basically put 2 zeros after the 1 1, and it gives you 11, or 1 1 0 0. The problem comes in, though, when we have multiple numbers, such as 1 0 1 1 and 1 1 0 1. Okay, now you're going to have a different multiplication line for each one of these. And you've got to remember, just like you added the 1 0 placeholder, you're going to have to add 1 0 on the second line, 2 zeros on the third, 4 zeros on the, or 3 zeros on the fourth. 1 times 1, again, we're basically just repeating this. So 1 1 0 1. Now we have to put the 0 placeholder. Now 0 times all 4 of those is just going to give us 4 zeros, right? Okay, so most people, they're like, well, why do I need those 5 zeros? Well, we need that placeholder. Now, for the next line, because this was the second numbers multiplication line, we need 2 placeholders. And now we're going to go 1 times 1, and then 1 times 1 again, 1 times 0, 1 times 1. Now we have a fourth number to multiply, so now we need 3 placeholders. And it's basically going to be the same numbers again. So 1, 1, 0, 1. Okay. Now we just go down the lines. So 1 plus 3 zeros is just 1. 1 plus 3 zeros is just 1. 1 plus 3 zeros, again, is just 1. Now, here's a little bit different. We said that when you have 2, you're going to roll over 1, and it's going to become a 0, right? But we have 3. So in this case, instead of it becoming a 0, we're going to go ahead and put a 1 down here. Now, we have 4 ones. 1 plus 0 plus 0 plus 1. That's 2 ones. So we need a 0 here, and it rolls over. We have 2 ones again. That's a 0, and it's going to roll over. Now, 2 ones, again, is going to need a 0, and the rollover is going to come down. So when I was first working this, I messed up on this third 0 here because I was not thinking about the fact that those became a 1, 0. So just keep that in mind whenever you're looking at this to check your work, make sure you do it correctly. Other than that, it's not a real difficult process. So let's take a moment and look at what this would look like if it was the actual question on the composition or the competition test for computer science. Okay. So from the state 2021, this question was there, and it was 1011 and then 1100. Now, you will notice that they have a number with a little 16, a little 16, a little 16. So they're wanting us to convert this then into hexadecimal. We're not going to go there because we're not ready for that, but we are ready to at least multiply this. So 1011, and then 1100. Again, 0 times all 4 of those are going to give us 4 zeros. No big deal. Now, 0 times all 4 of those are going to give us 4 zeros again. However, we need the placeholder 0. Okay. Now, we're on the third line, so we need 2 placeholder zeros, and we're multiplying it by 1. So basically, we're just going to rewrite what we have on the top. 0, 1. Now we have another 1, and we put 2 placeholders here, so we need 3 on this line. And it's going to again be 1, 1, 0, 1. Okay, bring these zeros down, make 0, 0, 1. 2 is going to give us a 0 here and bring the 1 over. 2 gives us a 0 here, bring the 1 over. 2 gives us a 0 here, we bring the 1 over. Well, this last one, again, is 2, so we put the 0 down here. Don't forget that 0. Don't just immediately put the 1. And then we bring down the 1. So the final answer that they have given us right here before they converted it was 1 and 4 zeros, and then 1 and 2 zeros. So 1 and 4 zeros, and 1 and 2 zeros. Okay? So hopefully that helps you with both adding or getting a sum of binary as well as the product of binary. And if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the bottom in the comments and try to see what we can answer. Make sure that you subscribe and like this so that we can continue to add more lessons for you, and you can continue to learn and prepare for your UIL computer science competition.